Right. Good morning, everybody. I'm Rebecca Jennings, Principal Client Advisor here at Global Reviews. Thank you very much for dialing in this morning. I am going to spend about 45 minutes talking you through some of our latest research on travel insurance in the UK and the effectiveness of the websites in getting people to consider the brand and then act on the purchase of travel insurance online. It's a benchmark across a number of brands in the market, so hopefully it will give you a good insight into what is going well and is going poorly. As I say, I'm Rebecca Jennings. I think a colleague of mine, Adam, is on the line as well. Yeah. Although I think, unfortunately, he's
yep.
There he is. Hello. Adam just wanted to say hello.
Good. Yes, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. It's great to see so many people on the webinar at the moment. As Rebecca, she's going to do a quick introduction of herself, but I just want to introduce myself. I'm the actual commercial director within Global Reviews, and if after the session anybody has any questions, okay, Rebecca, something happened there. I just got dropped out, so please kick off.
Sorry, technology. Right, well, as I say, good morning, everybody. I'm Rebecca Jennings. I'm the Principal Client Advisor here at Global Reviews. I've been at Global Reviews 2.5 years now, working across a number of brands in a number of territories. Previously to that, I was a Principal Analyst at Forrester Research in their Media Marketing Customer Experience team for 10 years. And previous to that, I was part of the founding team of the BBC's commercial internet presence. So many years, a scary number of years of experience in customer experience and media marketing. So what, as I say, I'm going to talk to you about this morning is our latest piece of research in the sales effectiveness benchmark in UK travel insurance. So say its latest piece, it was done at the end of last year. And the purpose of the research is to look, as I say, at the effectiveness of a number of travel insurance websites in the UK in promoting the brand, convincing people to consider the brand, to get a quote, and to buy the insurance. And we're going to go through some of the key insights of that research this morning. I'm going to touch very quickly on who Global Reviews are, so you know where the data's come from, you know who we are. I'm going to talk again briefly about the methodology of the research. So again, you know where all the data I'm going to talk about has come from and the sources of that data. And then I'm going to talk through the summary of the insights with the prioritized recommendations for the industry. And we're going to look at the key pains that the industry is suffering right now. This is going to take, say, somewhere in the region of about 40 to 45 minutes. Please do ask questions at the end if you would like. I can unmute people, or they can put a chat question through to me. That's fine. Also, you will have my email and Adam's email at the end of the presentation. So if you would like a copy of the presentation, we're very happy for that to happen. So just drop us an email at the end with, say, requests for the presentations or questions to follow up. That's no problem. So just very quickly, who are we in terms of Global Reviews? Global Reviews have been working within the online benchmarking industry for around 15 years now across a number of territories in Europe, UK, Australasia, and starting to look into America. So we have many years of experience across a number of brands and markets in a number of countries. So we have what we think is the most comprehensive set of both qualitative and quantitative insight and data across those industries, you'll see as I go through the benchmark and methodology, you'll see where the data comes from, and you'll see that it's both qualitative and quantitative in this benchmark, which makes it somewhat unique in the market. Many brands have been part of these studies over the last 15 years. As you can see, we work with brands across banking, many types of insurance. We work with brands in travel, in retail, in energy, and traditional online and offline retailers as well, and betting companies. So a wide range of brands we're working with. Experience. So really the DSE will look at those the issues that 95% of customers will experience as they go through the website. So as I say, 15 years of experience going through these different markets. So as I say, what we're going to talk about this morning is something we call the DSE, or the Digital Sales Effectiveness Research. That is a piece of research that looks at the consider and act phases of the customer journey. So you might think of the customer journey as starting with the discover phase. How do they find brands in the market? And that is looked at by another piece of research we do called the Digital Marketing Effectiveness Study, which looks at how consumers find brands in a market. The sales piece we're going to talk about today is very much aimed at looking at the consider and act phases. So looking at your own website, the websites in the market, and saying, firstly, how effectively do they engage customers from first impressions? Do they immediately give them the impression they can suit their needs? Does the website help them find a product or service that will meet their needs? And then into the act phase, how actually is it to buy the product or service from the website? So looking at which channels should I buy, channel decision, and then going through the application form. So the benchmark we're going to talk about today for travel looks at those particular phases, the consider and act phases, across all the sites in the benchmark. Each of those phases is then broken down into further steps for the purposes of the benchmark. So within the consider phase is broken down into 4 different phases. So again, we start with initial engagement. So first impressions of the website. Does it look as if I trust the website? Do I even want to go any further at this point? Does it look as if it can meet my needs from a first impressions? Does it look as if I want to actually give this brand some money, essentially? Then you take the next step. Okay, I'm going to start researching. What products do you have for me? Let's have a quick look. Can I find a page that compares the products? Can I find a page that explains what the products are simply and easily? And can I get a quick quote at this point? Then we move into evaluating options, which is, can I make sure I've got a quote that suits my needs specifically? How do I make that choice? Does it help me make that specific choice? Do I come away feeling that I've got the product that suits my needs and I've tailored it as far as I feel able? Then facilitating decisions is the point at which somebody's got a quote, but at this point they're still comparing against other brands. And the facilitating decisions piece is saying, well, what do you do as a brand to convince people to go with you? Do you give them help and support? Do you make them feel that they can trust you? Do you have content that says, why choose us? Because obviously Most of the markets we look at are reasonably fragmented, but actually travel insurance is one of the most fragmented markets we've seen, in fact, in terms of the number of brands in the market and the number of brands that are looked at when consumers are trying to make this decision. In the digital marketing effectiveness piece I talked about earlier, we also ran at the end of last year, and when we initially asked for preferences, who would you think of to look at in the market, I think we came up with 35 different brands, and that was just the brands that scored more than about 2% of consumers choosing them. So incredible amount of brands in the market. So it's really important at this point to be able to differentiate what it is that you have a brand as a brand that other brands don't. So we'll look a little bit at that later. In the ACT phase, there are two phases within the travel insurance market. There's the piece where we think about channel. So why would people buy online? What's their incentive to do so? If they want to do it on another channel, how easy is that? Do you help them do that? Do you give them a phone number with opening hours, etc.? And then the applying online is actually looking at the application form. How easy is it for them to take the quote and then actually go through giving the medical declaration, if necessary, going through the purchase, all the way through to the giving the credit card at the end. Now, at each of those stages, there is a lot of data that goes into this benchmark. As I said earlier, it's both qualitative and quantitative. So at each of those stages, the research is taken data from essentially 4 different types of insight. We start with consumer behavior. So when we do this study, we engage with consumers in the market who are pre-qualified. So they're qualified as consumers who are interested in the market and are in the market to get travel insurance, to buy travel insurance in the next 3 months. So they're motivated consumers interested in the brand, interested in the market, interested in the brands, and genuinely in the market to buy this product. We then ask them to go and do some tasks, a different set of consumers on each website, and we ask them to do some tasks on the website. So it might be InsureandGo, it might be Columbus, whoever the brands in the market are, and we give them a number of tasks to go and carry out. And it could be find the page which compares the products, it will be go and get a quote, and then go through the quote and buy process. So they're asked to do a number of things. When they do that, we can track everything they do. We download a little piece of technology, a little applet to their browser, which means that we know everything they do. We can see where they go, where they click, how long it takes them to find a piece of information, for example, and we'll see some of this data later. So we'll see their effectiveness, their efficiency, how long it took, how many pages it took, should they go backwards and forward trying to find something, and how happy were they with the experience when they'd done it. So we can see everything they do, and we can see their click behavior. We then ask them some questions about that experience. How satisfied were they with the experience? Would they recommend it to other people? What would they say in terms of finding those tasks? What was good? What was bad? What would they change? And then we also ask them a bunch of questions before and after the experience about the features and functions that they would expect. So we also get them to do a little bit of an audit of the web pages. So which features and functions would they expect in terms of, say, comparison tools, quote tools, etc., and we ask them to audit them. So that's the consumer side of things, both in terms of what they actually do and their opinions. We then also have the best practice audit. The best practice audit is conducted by internal experts from Global Reviews. It's a list of something in the region of 350 yes-no questions about information that the website contains and features and functions that it contains. As I say, it's yes-no. There's no scope for personal opinion here. It's does the site have, does the site do. All of that data, all those 4 different pots of data, are combined together at each of those 6 different stages across the consider and act phase. So at each stage, there is a number of tasks, a number of scores. So at each stage of that process, we can see how effective every website is at those initial impressions, at introducing options, at facilitating decisions, etc. So there's data both from the consumers and from the best practice audit. as you can imagine, there's an awful lot of data here. I'm not going to show you it all today. It's all available within the Global Reviews portal for clients, so clients can drill down and look at all of that data and look at the voice of customer, see what consumers actually say when they're doing this data. It all rolls up to a 1 overall customer experience score, as well as scores for each of those 6 stages, which is really where we're going to concentrate today and pick out some of the key pains. As I say, the overall output is a customer experience score for each brand. We would generally say that a score of about 55% suggests that the website is doing okay. Not stellar, but it's just about meeting customer needs. So if we look at where the brands in this latest review, latest benchmark performed, we can see the relative levels of the travel insurance market in the UK at the moment. So as you can see, and I can see with the title, most of the brands in this particular review failed to reach that magic 55%, failed to reach that expected level of customer experience. A couple did. We've got Columbus and InsureandGo not doing too badly in particular elements, and we'll see as we go through what tends to happen is there tend to be industry pains, so pieces where nobody in the industry does very well, and that tends to be around the facilitating decisions, deciding to purchase this kind of why choose us content, and we'll talk about that later. There are also elements where different brands do very differently. So some brands do some things particularly well, some brands do some things particularly badly, and we'll see that as we go through. But a couple of things to bring out here. Firstly, it's quite a close set. We have other brands, other markets where there's a much wider range between the lowest score and the highest score. So it's quite a close set. It wouldn't take much for the likes of sort of LV, FlexCover, AVIVA to bump that score up a few points. And I think as we go through, we'll see some of the key pains that they're experiencing and some of the ways they can do that. So while Columbus InsureandGo might be leading at the moment, I think there's quite a lot of scope in there. So it's a close set. Nobody really doing tremendously well. We have other brands in other markets getting more than 70%. That's not happening here. But equally, no brand doing terribly, terribly badly. We have other brands, again, in other markets getting sort of early 30s, and that's not happening here. So very competitive set we have here, and I think that reflects the state of the market overall. As I say, it's incredibly fragmented, very competitive. So I think what you're seeing here. So what we're going to do now, we're going to look at some of the scores for that 6 different steps across the consider and act phase, where we can start to see where some of the key pains come out. And I think the red dots will show you immediately that there's a lot of pain in the industry, as we just saw. On average, it's not meeting customer expectations. So we're getting lower than sort of way we would expect scores across most of the stages here. The one exception here is actually the actual application form. There seems to have been a concentration in investment on the application form itself, the end of the application form, from the quote process onwards. So that particular piece on average is actually not doing too badly, although there always scope for improvement. The bigger pains are coming earlier in the process. So we've got brands that are not concentrating at the moment on actually getting people through to the application. Once they've got them there, that's not too bad, but actually the pain is getting people to complete the quote and getting them through to making that decision. So we've got pain across the consider phases, across initial engagement, what products do you have, how do I evaluate those products, what's best for me, and then this very low scoring deciding to purchase phase, which is the help to actually make that decision once you've got the quote. Poor support of channel selection, that's not unusual. We often get a low score there where brands tend to have an assumption that people want to just complete the purchase online, and there's no encouragement or help with other channels, and there's also no support for how the application is done online. What information do you need? For example, it's often a low one. So pain points in various places across this consider and act phase, and I'm going to concentrate really on 3 of them this morning. We're going to start with looking at that initial engagement. Obviously, this is absolutely vital, particularly in, as I say, a very fragmented market where people are going to take a few seconds to look at the home page or the landing page, decide, is this a brand that suits my needs? Yes, no. I'm not going to give it very long to sell itself to me. I'm going to take a quick look and move on, because if it doesn't look good, there are lots of other brands in the market for my consideration. So what we're looking at here is a couple of things. What we're looking at, does the site immediately meet my expectations of a travel insurance brand? Does it have the content that I would expect? Does it look as if it offers the products I would expect? And does it build my trust? Do I look at it and go, yes, I would be happy to give these people my money. I would be happy that they will meet my needs if necessary. So that's the piece here, assisting the needs of customers, figuring out what it is that consumers want, and making sure the homepage and the landing page addresses those key needs. Obviously, those key needs are varied, and they are along the lines of, as I say, do you have the product that I'm expecting? Can I immediately see that you've got a good product that suits my needs? And one of the most important pieces here actually is making people feel comfortable that they will be able to claim. Obviously, travel insurance, like most insurances, unlike a physical product, the only way a customer is going to ever really test the brand is if they have to claim. So that's it. There's no other tangible way of testing or tangible product that they're going to see. So they have to be absolutely convinced when they're going to make this decision that if they buy travel insurance with you, you will make it quick, easy, and simple to claim. That's the only thing that can justify your differences against others. So one of the key things we ask at this point is our consumers to find the page on the website which gives information about the process of making a claim. And that's really, say, key in this initial engagement piece, that people as brands make it very easy for consumers to find information about making a claim. And as you can see here, we had a number of brands not do that very effectively. The top performer, we had around 88% of people managed to find that page, which is pretty good. On average, it was considerably lower than that. On average, it wasn't that easy for our customers to find the page that tell consumers about how to make a claim. It took them several minutes to find it. There was a lot of digging around the websites. On average, it took around just over 3 to 4 page views, so there was some clicking down. It wasn't immediately obvious from the home page, and there was a fairly low level of satisfaction with the process. And this is absolutely key in terms of reassuring consumers that they will actually be able to make a claim. Claims information may be not mentioned on the home page. If you look at the AVIVA site here, it does say we will deal with your claim quickly and fairly, but there's no link to claiming. So as a consumer, you're looking at it going, well, okay, you say that, but there's no proof. It doesn't tell me what I'm going to need. It doesn't tell me how to do it. And similarly, the post office does mention it, but as you can see from this screen grab, you can't see it. It's actually based at the bottom of the page, so hard for consumers to find. So again, immediately consumers looking at this going, okay, this is all about you taking my money. What is it that I'm going to get back from you? How easy is this to do? So it's absolutely vital that it's made obvious from the home page. So InsureandGo do a better job of this. So you've got a link at the top to claims. That's a constant link that appears across the site for home, FAQ, then obviously you can see claims. There's a phone number here. Again, phone number, very important for consumers' reassurance. They don't necessarily mean they're all going to call it. It just is a visual reassurance that you exist as a real brand. You're not all online. You're actually going to be there. If I have a problem or I have a question, you've got a phone number and you don't hide them. Interesting also here on the home page, InsureandGo have a 24-hour medical assistance phone number, again, very clearly on the home page. So more of an issue, more of a point here being made by InsureandGo that we know as a brand what you care about as a consumer is being able to contact us and being able to understand how you claim. So very clear reassurance from the brand at this point. Columbus, again, similarly, Columbus have a piece that specifically says make a claim on the home page, which produces a little drop down that has information that says, we know it's complicated and daunting. We provide a full guide to help you validate your claim and help us deal with your claim quickly and fairly. One link to a specific claims page which lays out what you do. Very important, doesn't just give the phone number, but it says actually what we're going to need from you is X, Y, Z, and then gives a specific claims phone number and customer services. So a very clear link to details and phone numbers. And then a couple other examples, what we've got here from John Lewis and LV, very explicitly what you will need to make a claim. And it's very important, again, that this information is high up in the navigation, accessible immediately from the home page, but also accessible to everybody. You also see often that this kind of information is hidden behind existing customers, log in here, and then we'll tell you what you need. Now that's fine for existing customers, but actually what we're doing here is reassuring potential customers of the ease of this process. It's not something that needs to be hidden away after people have decided to give you money. It's an influence on whether they give you that money in the first place. So particularly within, say, in the travel insurance and insurance, how easy is it to claim? This is the information I'm going to need from you. Phone numbers, details of the claim, what you need. You need a incident report, a police report, keep the original invoices, keep original receipts and accounts. So very clear, explicit how to make a claim. So that's one of the first key pains here from consumers' point of view. They're looking at the websites immediately going, well, actually, this is all about you wanting me to spend money with you. What is it that I'm going to get? How easy is it for me to actually get the service that I'm paying for? So how easy is it to meet that claim? So that's absolutely vital in terms of this initial engagement and first impressions for consumers. So taking the next step, so we're moving on from initial engagement, we've now got consumers taking the step to find the products, what products are actually on offer here, but then actually getting a quote. And you can see here that unfortunately the quote tool, generally speaking, doesn't perform very well. This is where we ask consumers to go and get a quick quote for an insurance product, and obviously we study everything they do, we ask their feedback on their process, and we also do this best practice audit on the quote tool. And there are a number of key pains that a lot of brands in the market aren't meeting or are not supporting consumers' decisions sufficiently within this step of the process. So this is things around helping consumers make sure that they've got the right product for them. So does the page provide alternate options to make the quote cheaper? You've done the quote. You've got usually a number of quotes. You see you've got Direct Travel offering you 4, Post Office offering you 4, you've got AXA offering you 3. So there's multiple products usually being offered at this point. So as a consumer, is it possible for them to start to make sure they've got the right price for M? Can they alter the excess? Does it mention cooling off period? Does it mention phone numbers and the link to FAQ? This is absolutely vital again here. So many of these sites don't at this point have any access to any help. You can see all of those 3 pages here. We've got there's no obvious phone number, there's no link to FAQ. So I've got a consumer who's got a question. What are they going to do? They're going to leave the correct process and go and try and find the solution to their problem somewhere else. In this particular market, that's often going to mean going to find another quote from somebody else. They're looking at this site going, oh, I don't know whether you cover this. I don't know whether this particular issue is solved. I've got a question, but I can't answer it. Oh, okay, you're not going to answer it. I'll go somewhere else. So absolutely vital to have that link and support to help. So mentioning cooling off period, but also how am I going to get my details? Do they arrive do my policy arrive immediately? I'm leaving tomorrow. I haven't got time to wait for this to arrive in the post. Can you tell me how I'm going to get my details? Does the page make a clear statement about features of the policy that you offer? So this is starting to get into the why choose us. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but we're starting to sort of cover this here and thinking, okay, I've got a price. It's a very similar price to everybody else. What is it that you are offering me that other people don't? Again, taking through this, how easy is it to claim? It doesn't need to be a lot of detail, but a link that just says, reassure yourself how easy it is to claim, or something that might just reinforce that. So any statistics like 95% of our claims are met within a week, or issues, points that just say, look, we're the right people to go with, this is why you would do it, it's easy to claim. Summary of information entered. Again, so many people, so many brands get to this point, and as a consumer you go, oh, did I give the right dates? Did I say Europe and the Middle East, or did I put the right countries in? And again, as a consumer, if you can't see at this page what you've said, you leave and you come back and you go somewhere else to do what you're going to do. It's trying to reduce the amount of break points that there are in the process, reduce the chance of a consumer at this point going, no, this is too hard, it hasn't got the information I want, I'm going to go somewhere else. And the final piece here, sort of one of the key pains, is how easy can users take away this quote to compare, because consumers will do this comparison. Brands know this. Now, comparison across policies and across prices is absolutely rife. They might use a comparison site to do it, but they're also quite likely to go in and get 3 or 4 quotes and then sit quietly and think about which one they want. And anything you can do at this point to help them remember your brand at that point and why they've chosen your brand is going to increase the likelihood of them coming back to finish that quote with you and not with somebody else. So that could be email it to myself. It could be printing. So again, they're looking at it later. They've got a nice printout from one brand that shows the price and all the policy information and the key features. Another brand, they've got to scribble down pricing because they couldn't print it and email it. Which one do you think is going to be more likely to stick in their mind when they come back to actually make that purchase? So it's about helping consumers at this point understand the quote and understand that they've got the best price for them and feel that they've got access to answering questions. So FlexiCover actually got the highest score in the benchmark at this point. So you can see a few things here. You've got a phone number prominently displayed throughout the process. Often that's not there at all. On the home page, we saw a couple of pages earlier it didn't have one. And also often when you get into the quote process, this top bar disappears. It doesn't here. It maintains the phone number and the free phone constantly there with a link, like you see open daily, link to the phone numbers. Summary of key information is available on the results page. So you've got your quotation, policy number, group type. You've got the option to email the results. So I can put my email address in there and I will get the information emailed to me later. And there's a results overview of what's covered. So that little box here, FlexCover, gives you more. So as a consumer, again, you're looking at this going, okay, if I've got a question, I can call you. That's great. That's what I've said to you. I want you to cover me for. That's helpful. I can go back and amend it if I've done something wrong, if I put the wrong date in. This is the standard stuff that's covered. Oh, great. Look, schedule of airline failure, free cover for sporting activities, etc. And I can email these to think about. So there's a lot of little pieces here that are helping the consumer make sure they've got the right quote for them, to understand what they've got, but also little drip feed saying, this is a good decision, take this away and think about it. We'll let you email it to yourself. We'll help you make that decision later. Similarly, within the AVIVA website, AVIVA very good in terms of support, help and support, and you can see that immediately here. You've got not only telling consumers which fields are obligatory, which fields are mandatory, and again, that doesn't always happen. A number of the quote forms, you get to the end and you get an error message saying you haven't filled in this particular piece of information, but you weren't told you had to. which is very frustrating for consumers. A lot of support here, FAQ, can search the FAQ from within the quote. Again, there's no break point here. People aren't pushed out of the quote process to go and answer a question. It's all integrated. The chances of people continuing are higher because they haven't had to leave to do something else. Phone number with opening hours, and you can easily navigate backwards and forwards. Again, that's important here in terms of consumers being able to check the information that they've inputted. Perhaps they get a price and go, oh, that is a bit expensive. Did I actually give the right information? So they go back and check. So it's very important that they've got that flexibility. And again, what happens if they don't? They get to a quote. They think, oh, I'm not sure I did that right. Oh, it's too complicated. I'll go and do it somewhere else. So reducing the amount of sort of break points in this process. Often interesting to look at examples from other industries as well. I said earlier, it's not necessarily the case that you'll find there's always a brand in a market doing something very well. Sometimes industries have industry pains, and it's quite useful to look at other industries for examples. So this is actually one from motor insurance. This is AXA's motor insurance. And this does well because this does this key policy benefits. So again, as a consumer, I'm looking at the price. I might be thinking, gosh, I wasn't expecting that, or that's an interesting price. And immediately right next to the price is your policy benefits. Why are you paying this? What is it you're getting from us that you're not getting from everybody else? What is it that makes our quote value? You can then exercise a little bit of control over that as a consumer. You can change the excess. So as a consumer, you're starting to feel, okay, I've got a price that actually suits my needs specifically. I haven't just walked into a supermarket and got a tin of beans off a shelf. I've got a product here and a price that I've started to actually add and take away elements of that really suit my needs. So I can play with this excess. I can immediately see how it affects my premium. So it's very much about looking at demonstrating how your travel insurance quote is value for money, and demonstrating how the key benefits of the cover highlight features that other insurers don't offer. And then it's about, say, this issue of making sure people can remember this quote easily, perhaps, say, when they're doing this comparison. So LV do this nice piece where they enable you to print the quote, but it isn't just printing that page, it's printing a specially designed page with the premium at the top, a summary of the information that you entered as a consumer, so again you can check that you've got it all right, and then a summary of medical conditions and a summary of what's covered. So when you're looking later at the 3 or 4 quotes that you got, perhaps comparing them with a partner, checking that it's exactly what you want, it's very easy to look at the LV quote and go, okay, great, that's what I've got, and it's definitely suiting my needs, rather than, as I say, a page of scribbled down prices where you're not making a decision based on value and based on the brand. So this is keeping the brand top of mind. And this is another just nice little piece. This very much goes into the last pane we're going to talk about in a moment, but getting into the why choose us piece. So Amex have an award here. They were given a Consumer Money Facts Award, Travel Insurance Provider of the Year. So what they're doing here is saying, okay, we can tell you until we're blue in the face how fabulous we are. We can shout about how great we are, but it isn't just us that does that. This is an external award, external validation of the value of our product. So again, we're just getting to this constant drip feed of this is the right choice to make, we are the right brand, and it's not just us that are telling you we're the right brand, which of course we would. We've now got an external validation of how good the brand is and how good our travel insurance is. So at this page in the quote process, it's it's sort of continuing that support. So it's not just earlier in the process when you first come to the site, choose us. It's now taking that content through the entire process, and that's very important when we get to this other one of the real key pains that we see here. And again, this is not concentrated just on this market. It's not a pain just for travel insurance. We often find across the markets that we do, across insurance, across banking, across retail, across auto, this piece is generally done badly. There are really sort of three pieces about this step, and this is about facilitating external comparison. As I say, accepting as a brand that people do this, people will take the price away and will compare you externally with other brands. It's not at this point about us saying, okay, you have to put an explicit price comparison. We cost X and our competitors cost Y. That's not what this is about. This is about anything you can do that makes your brand stand out in the market. What's your USP? It might be those awards we were just talking about earlier. If you've got an award, you've got a Which award, you've got a de facto award that makes it makes you sort of implicitly stand out against the other brands in the market. This is where we're getting to. We're looking here at contacting the company. So as a consumer, I've got a question, I've got a particular medical condition that I need you to cover, or I'm going somewhere slightly unusual, or I've got a multi-trip planned. How easy is it to get insurance for all of that? So how easy as a consumer is it for me to actually reach out to contact you? Which you see, this is again a really interesting one in that you've got a wide divergence in the brands in the benchmark, how they perform. You've got brands like InsureandGo and LV doing this extremely well, but actually then you've got brands like AXA and Cover for You doing it very poorly. So very wide diversity in how well consumers are supported, essentially. And then you've got this piece of why choose us. What is it about us as a brand that makes us different? Why are you giving us your money and not giving anybody else the money? And again, diversity in the success of how brands do that. So really what we're looking at, for example, here in terms of helping consumers make that decision in terms of firstly contacting the brand, contact and support. So you've got a phone number here with opening hours, so that appears on all the pages, it's constantly there. Reassurance to the consumer, you do exist, you've got a UK call centre, you're going to be open till 9 o'clock in the evening, so I can do this once I've got home from work. I can't do it at work, but you are going to be there in the evening, you're there at weekends. So as a consumer, I know I can do this, and I know I can reach out to the brand at a time that's suitable for me. You can also get a callback, and this page also consists of supporting content as to why choose LV. So 3 lovely reasons to choose LV. So supporting the decision. You've also got pieces at the bottom that say, with our travel insurance you'll get. So showing people what they get from the brand. So why choose us? What you've also got here are those awards. You can see here that LV are showing their de facto 5-star de facto award. They're also showing this personal finance best travel insurance provider award. So again, what you've got here is external validation of what the brand is saying. The brand is saying there's 3 lovely reasons to choose LV, but of course they would. But next to that, they're saying, no, don't just take our word for it. Provider. So telling consumers, or letting consumers know that they're making the right decision at this point, and there's external support for that. Again, it's often interesting to look at what other markets are doing within this, some of these pains, and we saw certainly the travel insurance markets have widely different approaches to this. This is an interesting approach from Paddy Power in terms of this help and contact and support piece. We saw LV, they've got the phone number and they've got the opening hours, and again you've got that here, you've got the phone numbers. Paddy Power actually, they're open 24 hours. They've got live help, so from that point of view it's all there, the phone numbers, the live help. There's a couple of other things here which I think is interesting. Firstly, you've got the average response time here on the right. So as a consumer, you're feeling comforted that Paddy Power are brave enough to say, look, we will answer your call in an average of 27 seconds. Live help will be back to you an average of 51. Email takes 3.5 hours. So firstly, as a consumer, you're thinking, okay, they're brave enough to say that, which means they're genuinely going to answer my question. They're genuinely going to respond to me. And also, as a consumer, I can make a decision on which of those I want to do. Is it urgent? Do I need to do it now? I can do call or live help. Can I send them an email? Okay, yes, if I do it now, there'll be an answer in a couple of hours. I can get on with the process. So very good sort of say support and sort of reassurance that the brand is actually there and there's going to be somebody to answer the phone. What's also interesting in here is you look at the most popular answers in the FAQ, because time and time again you look at FAQs and consumers look at them and go, well, actually that's not what I want to know. That's what you as a brand want me to know. So it's how easy is it to pay? For example, how do I get a quote? It's not actually the genuinely frequently asked questions. Or actually, I think these address things that consumers actually want to know. So they address withdrawing. If you're betting, this is obviously a betting brand, if you're betting, you bet because you're going to win. You don't believe you're not going to win. So one of the key things you want to know is, how am I going to get my money out? It's exactly the same as we saw earlier. One of the key things consumers want to know in insurance companies is how I'm going to claim. That's most important for me. So that's one of the top frequently asked questions. And secondly, you've got sign-up offers, free bets. Again, our research shows that people are very confused about how they get a free bet with a lot of the betting brands. And here you've got the second frequently asked question here is free bets, and the third is bets accepted in error. So you've actually got a piece of help and contact which is very supportive, it's very honest in how you're going to get a response, but also the FAQ are genuinely frequently asked questions. They're not what the brand thinks consumers should know. Another piece that is very useful for consumers that is very well done in terms of wrapping up this help and support piece is the glossary, a glossary of terms. A lot of brands have it, but actually what LV does is make it really useful and really integrated with the brand. So you have the travel insurance pages, and actually this goes across all their insurance pages. It's a glossary that you can switch on and off. See in the bottom right here, click to turn on our glossary. If you turn it on, a little shaded box appears around a number of terminology, so optional extras, glossary, policy, and as you mouse over, you get a pop-up that tells you what that means. So really helpful to consumers who might not know a lot of the particular terms, and also it doesn't take consumers out of the process. They aren't going to a different page to look at the FAQ, to look at the glossary. They've had their journey interrupted, something happens, the phone rings, they leave. Their journey's interrupted. What you've got here is that help really deeply integrated into the website itself. So very helpful and saying will reduce the chances of people moving away from that page. And then finally, getting to this why choose us piece, which you saw a lot of brands not doing very well at. And as I say, what we often find in a lot of the studies we do, this isn't done very well at all. So you've got Columbus here, a lot of content here that's really making that point that Columbus are the right choice, but also information from a number of different sources here. You've got, obviously, Columbus itself saying, yeah, we've got great products, we always put customers first, that's fantastic. But then you've got some of that external validation. You've got customer reviews and the links to reviews where they're getting 4.7 out of 5, so customers actually reviewing the process. Stats, 95% of customers we surveyed this year would recommend Columbus. You've got all those awards, and that's a mixture of industry awards and consumer awards, so again, personal finance, consumer money facts, best business. So a lot of external support, external validation that Columbus is a brand that you as a consumer can trust. On the right-hand side here, you then actually got some speech bubbles from consumers themselves, testimonials and reviews. Everything on the website is easy to use, products good value. The claim, there was no surprises, just excellent service. So again, a drip feed at consumers saying this was the right decision to have made. And then on the right-hand side, again, links to the consumers, links to the customer reviews, links to why Columbus Direct, links to the policy benefits. So a constant little drip feed of both internal and external validation of the brand, why you would choose Columbus. It's important this goes through the entire process. You've just seen that on the home pages and the product pages, but it's really important that that is continued through the quote and buy process. And unsurprisingly, that's something John Lewis do quite well. John Lewis actually obviously pride themselves in their service. So what you've got as you go through the quote process is, again, a little bit of reassurance of why you would do this, why you would carry on getting this quote from us. So great value, protection for the unexpected, replace your possessions without any reduction for wear and tear. So even after, as a consumer, you've made the decision to get a quote, you're obviously still in a comparative set here. You're still, as a consumer, you haven't made your mind up yet. And that's what the brands here are saying. Okay, that's great that you've come to get a quote. We've persuaded you to come this far, but actually let's still keep you interested and keep you a fan of the brand by, again, this constant, why would you choose us, through the quote pages. And actually, LV, in their home insurance, even use the loading page to reinforce that choice. So within the application loading, rather than just leaving a little whirring circle, which is what you often get if you're waiting for something to happen, you actually get a couple of seconds of, again, this reinforcement, awarded a 5-star rating, 24-hour UK claims service, emergency domestic helpline. Constant, again, a little drip feed, you're making the right decision, we are the brand to go with. Absolutely vital, because as I say, this is an incredibly fragmented market, more so than any of the other markets we've seen. It's really important as a brand to be able to lodge in people's minds why you would choose us, why you would trust us, why are we going to deliver on that claim when you make it. When you're looking at that 3 or 4 brands at the end, when you've got a price from those, why are you actually going with us against all these other brands in the market? Because if you don't do that, it's incredibly easy for a consumer just to say, oh, this is too hard, can't be bothered, I'll just go and look at one of the other many, many hundreds of brands in the market. So what we found in that latest piece of research in that DSE, overall, travel insurance companies are generally failing to give users the experience that they expect, failing to give users an adequate online experience. There's a lot of things they can do to improve, a lot of strings we can pull here. This is not about investing millions of pounds in complete redesign. Global Reviews research is very much about practical implementations, effective implementation, practical advice. So we're thinking about key pains here, such as reassuring users from the home page that their key requirements can be met. And that is making sure that people are sure from the home page what products do you have, and also how do they claim. It's easy, it's quick. 95% of claims aren't met on the phone in a week, or whatever it happens to be. How easy is it to claim? Because that is your one way of demonstrating your value. Providing easy ways for consumers to compare products, but also keep you top of mind when making decisions. Can I save that quote and email it to myself? Can I print it out? What is it that's going to make it stick in my mind when I'm making that final comparison? Helping them answer questions both online, so integrated FAQ, integrated glossary, but also for contacting you, so phone numbers, opening hours, could be live chat. How easy can you make it for them to answer questions without leaving that decision process, like coming out of the website, another website pop up, breaking that consumer journey up and reducing the chances of making it all the way through to the buy page. And then finally, this why choose us. What is it about that makes you different? What's your USP? Hundreds of brands in the market. What is it about you that makes you the one for me? So thank you very much for your time. As I say, we work across a number of industries, particularly looking here at the insurance research we're going to be doing over the next few months with a rolling program of digital sales and digital marketing effectiveness research. The digital sales piece that we've just talked about there usually runs on a 6-monthly cycle. So we did at the end of the year, end of 2013, so we'll be running that again in May. We'll be running the digital marketing piece, that blank screen, how do people find brands in this market, running that in the next month and again in May. And then we have home and motor pieces going on over the next few months as well. So the motor DSE in March, and the home DSE is coming up in February. So if you're interested in any of that, or you're interested in more details about what we've been talking about today, please do get in contact with myself or Adam, who you heard earlier. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them now, either on the phone or if you want to type in a question. If not, then thank you very much for your attendance this morning. And so you're very welcome to have a copy of the presentation. If you email one of us, we can get that over to you. So just give one moment for anybody to answer a question. If not, I will sign off. So has anybody got a question immediately? Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for your time this morning, as I say. Very happy to take questions offline afterwards. You've got rebecca.jennings@globalreviews.com or adam.dawson@globalreviews.com. Very happy to take follow-up insight or to zip over a copy of the presentation. So thank you very much for your time on a Friday morning. I hope you have a good weekend, and thank you very much.